The phone in my hand feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds, even though I know it is just a few ounces of glass and metal. The notification on the screen glows in the darkness of our bedroom. Thanks for tonight, babe. Home safe. From Chloe, our babysitter. To my husband. I can hear Alex downstairs, laughing at something on TV. The same laugh I fell in love with 12 years ago. The sound travels up the stairs and mixes with the hammering of my heart. He has no idea I am holding his phone. He has no idea I just saw that word. Babe. If you only saw the scene right now, you would say it is simple. He cheated on me. The evidence is right here, glowing in my shaking hands. But life is never that clean, is it? You are already here hearing my side. So subscribe and stay to hear his too. Because for you to understand how I ended up here, staring at proof I never wanted to find, I need to go back a little. Back to when I still believed that trust was something you could count on, like the sun coming up every morning. I met Alex at a coffee shop near the university when I was 23. He was reading a book about architecture, and I spilled my latte all over his table trying to reach for extra sugar. Most people would have been annoyed, but he just smiled and said, "Well, now you have to stay and help me dry these pages." We spent 4 hours talking that day, 4 hours that felt like 20 minutes. He proposed 3 years later on a beach in North Carolina, right as the sun was setting. The sky was pink and orange, and he got down on one knee in the wet sand, not caring that the waves were soaking his pants. "I want every sunset for the rest of my life to be with you," he said. I cried so hard I could barely say yes. Our wedding was small but perfect. My parents loved him. His parents loved me. We danced until 2 in the morning, and when we finally got to our hotel room, we collapsed on the bed laughing about how my uncle had tried to break dance and pulled his back. "This is it," Alex whispered to me. "This is the life I want. You, me, and whatever comes next." What came next was a small house in the suburbs, the kind with a front porch and a backyard big enough for a garden. Then came Emma, our daughter, born on a rainy October morning after 16 hours of labor. Alex held my hand the entire time, whispering that I was the strongest person he had ever known. 2 years later came Noah, our son, who came so fast we almost did not make it to the hospital. Life got busy. Alex started working longer hours at the architecture firm, climbing his way toward partner. I went back to work part-time at the marketing agency, juggling conference calls with diaper changes. We hired Chloe when Emma started preschool and Noah was still in diapers. She was 19, studying early childhood education at the community college, and she was perfect. The kids loved her. She was patient, creative, always on time. For a while, everything felt balanced. Hard, yes. Exhausting, absolutely. But balanced. Alex and I would collapse into bed at night, too tired to talk much, but we would hold hands under the covers. That small touch felt like enough. I remember our 10th anniversary. We could not afford to go anywhere fancy, so we ordered takeout and ate it on the living room floor after the kids were asleep. 10 years, Alex said, raising his wine glass. And I would marry you all over again. I believed him. God, I really believed him. Looking back now, I wonder if that was the last time we were truly happy. Or if I was just too busy to notice the cracks that were already forming underneath. The first strange thing I noticed was his phone. Alex had never been secretive with his phone before. It would sit on the kitchen counter while he cooked, face up, notifications popping up for everyone to see. But sometime around last spring, that changed. Suddenly his phone was always face down. Always in his pocket. Always just out of reach. "Why do you keep your phone like that now?" I asked him one morning while we were having coffee. He barely looked up from his eggs. "Like what? Face down. You never used to do that." He shrugged. "I guess I just do. Does it matter? It was such a small thing. Such a nothing thing. But it stuck with me." Then there were the late nights. Alex had always worked hard, but this was different. He started having more business dinners, more meetings that ran until 9 or 10 at night. "The Taylor project is killing me," he would say. "Just a few more weeks and it will calm down." But weeks turned into months, and it never calmed down. Chloe started staying later too. I would get home from my own late meetings and find her still there, sitting on our couch with her textbook spread out, Alex just pulling into the driveway minutes after me. "Thank God you are here," Chloe would say. "I have an exam tomorrow and I really need to study." It made sense. It all made sense. One night I came home early and heard laughter coming from the kitchen. Alex and Chloe were standing by the stove, and he was showing her how to flip something in a pan. When I walked in, they both jumped a little, and the laughter stopped. "Hey," Alex said, smiling at me, "you are home early." "Traffic was good," I said, watching Chloe gather her things quickly. "I should go," she said, "thanks for the cooking lesson." Alex, not Mr. Harrison, just Alex. When had that started? I tried to bring it up later that night. "Do you think Chloe is getting a little too comfortable here?" "What do you mean?" Alex was scrolling through his phone in bed, not really listening. "I mean, she calls you Alex now. And you just seemed pretty cozy tonight." He put his phone down and looked at me with this expression, like I was a child who had said something foolish. "Megan, she is a college kid who babysits our children. You are overreacting." That word, overreacting, it would become his favorite weapon. "I am not overreacting. I am just saying maybe we should set some boundaries." "There are boundaries," he said, turning off his bedside lamp. "You are seeing problems where there are none." I lay there in the dark, listening to his breathing slow into sleep, and I felt something cold settle in my stomach. It was not proof of anything. It was just a feeling. But that feeling would not go away. Back then, I thought that word overreacting was just annoying. I did not know it would become the weapon he used every single time I got close to the truth. The feeling grew. It started as a whisper in the back of my mind and became a scream I could not silence. I started paying attention to everything. The way Alex smiled at his phone. The way he angled the screen away from me when I walked by. The way he started showering as soon as he got home from work, instead of collapsing on the couch like he used to. I told myself I was being paranoid. I told myself I was tired, stressed, hormonal. But the signs kept piling up. One Tuesday evening, I was folding laundry and I noticed a receipt in the pocket of his jacket. It was from a restaurant downtown, a nice Italian place we had always wanted to try but never had. The date was from the previous Thursday, when he said he had worked late. The total was for 2 entrees, 2 glasses of wine, and dessert. $87.30. When I asked him about it, he barely blinked. "Client dinner," he said. "For the Morrison account." "You got dessert at a client dinner?" "The client wanted dessert." "What is this, an interrogation?" "No, I am just asking." "Well, it feels like an interrogation, Megan. I am working my ass off to keep this family comfortable, and you are acting like I am some kind of criminal." I wanted to believe him. I tried so hard to believe him. But something in his voice was wrong. Something in the way he got defensive so quickly. I started checking his credit card statements online. I told myself I was just being responsible, just keeping track of our finances. But really, I was looking for something. And I kept finding little things. Charges at coffee shops at odd times. A charge at a florist for $75 on a day that was not my birthday, not our anniversary, not any special occasion I could think of. "Who were the flowers for?" I asked him. "What flowers?" "The $75 charge at Garden Gate Florist." He sighed, that same exasperated sigh he had been giving me more and more lately. "They were for Jana. You know, my boss. Her mother died. It was a sympathy arrangement." "Why are you going through our credit card statements?" "I am not going through them. I just saw it." "Well, stop looking for problems." "There are no problems." But there were problems. I could feel them growing between us like weeds, choking out everything that used to be good. I started having trouble sleeping. I would lie awake at night, listening to Alex breathe, wondering if he was dreaming about someone else. I lost my appetite. My friends started asking if I was okay. "You look tired," they would say. "Are you eating enough?" I started looking at Chloe differently too. The way she laughed at Alex's jokes. The way she touched his arm when she was saying goodbye. The way she seemed to know where everything was in our house, like she belonged there. One afternoon, I came home early and found her sitting on the couch, her shoes off, eating ice cream straight from the container. Our ice cream. From our freezer. She looked so comfortable, so at home, and something about it made my skin crawl. "Hey, Megan," she said brightly. "I did not hear you come in." "I can see that," I said, probably too sharply. She put the ice cream down quickly. "Sorry, I should have asked. I just got done giving the kids lunch and I was starving." "It is fine," I said, even though it was not fine. Nothing was fine. I started following him. Just once or twice, just to see. One evening when he said he had a late meeting, I drove downtown and parked near his office building. I sat there for 2 hours, feeling like the worst kind of person, hating myself but unable to stop. Finally, he came out alone. He got in his car and drove straight home. I felt stupid ashamed. Maybe I really was overreacting. Maybe I was destroying our marriage with my paranoia. But then I found the app. I was using Alex's tablet to look up a recipe, and I saw a notification pop up from an app I did not recognize. When I clicked on it, it asked for a password. I tried his usual passwords. None of them worked. Why would he have an app with a different password? What was he hiding? What is this app? I asked him that night, showing him the tablet. He glanced at it. Oh, that. It is just for organizing work documents. My assistant set it up. Why does it have a different password? Because it has confidential client information. Jesus, Megan, do you hear yourself? You sound crazy. That word hit me like a slap. I am not crazy. I am asking a reasonable question. No, you are not. You are accusing me of something based on nothing. I am done with this conversation. He walked out of the room, and I stood there holding the tablet, wondering if he was right. Was I crazy? Was I inventing problems that did not exist? But the feeling in my gut said otherwise. The feeling in my gut said I was close to something, and he knew it. I thought the worst thing that could happen was discovering nothing. I was wrong. The worst was still waiting in a folded piece of paper I had not touched yet. It happened on a Thursday night in late November. The air was cold and sharp, the kind of cold that makes your lungs hurt when you breathe. I remember because I was thinking about how we needed to winterize the house, how we needed to check the furnace, all those normal domestic thoughts that feel absurd now. Alex had been on a business trip to Philadelphia for 3 days. He texted me every night, called to say goodnight to the kids, sent photos of his boring hotel room and his boring conference meals. Everything seemed normal, everything seemed fine. He got home around 6 in the evening. The kids ran to him, screaming, "Daddy, Daddy." And he scooped them both up, one in each arm. I stood in the doorway watching, and for a moment, I felt that old love. That old trust. Maybe I had been wrong about everything. Maybe we were okay. How was it? I asked him as he set the kids down. Exhausting. I need a shower and about 12 hours of sleep. He hauled his suitcase upstairs, and I went back to making dinner. Emma was showing me a drawing she had made at school, and Noah was building something elaborate with blocks. Normal life. Safe life. After dinner, Alex went upstairs to unpack. I was loading the dishwasher when Emma asked me if she could show Daddy her school project that was due tomorrow. Sure, honey. His laptop is in his bag if you need to print anything. I went upstairs to help her. Alex was in the bathroom. I could hear the shower running. His suitcase was open on the bed, clothes spilling out. I started to look for his laptop when I noticed something wedged in the side pocket of the suitcase. A folded piece of paper, hotel stationery. I should not have touched it. I should have respected his privacy. But my hands moved before my brain could stop them. I unfolded it. It was a handwritten note. The handwriting was feminine, looping and careful. Last night was perfect. I know this is complicated, but when I am with you, nothing else matters. Thank you for making me feel seen. Chloe. My vision went blurry. The paper shook in my hands. I read it again. And again. And again. Trying to make it say something different. Trying to make the words rearrange themselves into something innocent. Last night. But last night Alex was in Philadelphia alone. Or so I thought. I heard the shower turn off. I heard him humming to himself, that same tuneless hum he always did when he was relaxed. Happy. I folded the note and put it in my pocket. I went downstairs on autopilot, helped Emma with her project, put the kids to bed, kissed their foreheads, read them stories. My voice sounded normal even though I felt like I was dying inside. Alex came downstairs around 9, his hair still damp, wearing sweatpants and an old t-shirt. God, it feels good to be home, he said, dropping onto the couch next to me. I let the moment breathe. I let him settle in, let him think everything was fine. Then I pulled the note from my pocket and placed it on the coffee table between us. What is this? I asked. My voice was calm. Calm. He picked it up. I watched his face. I watched every micro-expression, every tiny movement of his eyes. He read it. His jaw tightened. Where did you find this? In your suitcase. Answer the question. What is it? He put the note down. It is nothing. It is signed C. For Chloe. Our babysitter, the one who calls you babe in text messages. His head snapped up. You went through my phone? I borrowed it to check the time last week and I saw her message. And now I find this. So tell me, Alex. Tell me what the hell is going on. He ran his hands through his hair. That gesture I used to find endearing now looked like guilt. Okay. Yes. Chloe was in Philadelphia. The air left my lungs. Hearing him say it out loud made it real. Why? She had a family thing there. Her cousin goes to school in Philadelphia, and she was visiting. We ran into each other at a coffee shop near my hotel. Pure coincidence. And then what? You invited her to your hotel room? No. We had coffee. We talked. That is it. I held up the note. This says last night was perfect. What was perfect, Alex? What happened last night? Nothing happened. She is dramatic. She is young. She probably meant the conversation was nice. Do not do that. Do not insult my intelligence. This note is romantic. This note is from someone who has feelings for you. And the way she writes, it sounds like you have feelings for her too. I do not have feelings for her. Then why did you keep the note? Why did you bring it home? Why did you hide it in your suitcase? He had no answer for that. He just sat there, staring at the note like it was a bomb that had already gone off. How long has this been going on? I asked. Nothing is going on. How long, Alex? There is nothing to tell. You are lying to me. You have been lying to me for months. The late nights. The phone always face down. The weird charges. The way you look at her. The way she looks at you. I am not stupid. I never said you were stupid. Then stop treating me like I am. Tell me the truth. He stood up, pacing now. Fine. Yes. Chloe and I have become close. Too close maybe. But nothing physical has happened. I swear to you, Megan, nothing physical has happened. So it is emotional. An emotional affair. I do not know what it is. I just know that she listens to me. She asks me about my day and actually cares about the answer. She sees me as more than just a paycheck or a co-parent. She sees me. His words were knives. Each one cut deeper than the last. I see you, I said, my voice breaking now. I have always seen you. No, you do not. You see the house that needs fixing and the bills that need paying and the kids that need raising. But you do not see me. Not anymore. So this is my fault. You started an affair with our 19-year-old babysitter, and it is my fault. It is not an affair. And she is 20 now. The fact that he corrected her age told me everything I needed to know. Get out, I said. Megan, get out. Go sleep on the couch. I cannot look at you right now. He left. I sat there alone in the living room, holding that note, reading it over and over. The words blurred through my tears. That is my side. With everything I lived and everything I found, this is cheating. Maybe not in the way people usually mean, maybe not with hotel security footage and torn bedsheets, but it is betrayal just the same. He gave parts of himself to her that were supposed to be mine. He crossed lines that should never be crossed. But he does not tell this story in the same way.
I am lying on the couch in my own house, staring at the ceiling, and I cannot stop replaying the look on her face when she showed me that note. The anger I expected, the hurt I expected, but it was the disappointment that killed me, like she had finally confirmed something she had been suspecting for months, and I had just proven her right. The note is still on the coffee table. I can see it from here, folded now, but I know every word by heart. Chloe should not have written it. I should not have kept it, but I did, and now everything is burning down around me. Megan thinks this is simple. She thinks she caught me red-handed, that the evidence speaks for itself, and maybe it does, if you only look at it from her angle. But if you only listen to her, I am the perfect villain, the cheating husband who threw away his family for a younger woman. Let me tell you how it started from my side, and then you can decide if it is really that black and white, because from where I am lying right now, feeling like the worst person in the world, but also feeling like I have been drowning for years, and nobody noticed, it does not feel simple at all. I fell in love with Megan the day I met her. That part is true. No matter what else you hear, she spilled her latte all over my architecture textbook at that coffee shop, and instead of just apologizing and leaving, she sat down and helped me dry every page. She asked me about the buildings in the photos, realized like she wanted to understand why they mattered to me. Most people hear architecture and their eyes glaze over. Not Megan. She leaned in. We got married 3 years later on that beach in North Carolina. I meant every word of my vows. When I said I wanted to build a life with her, I meant it literally. I wanted to design our future together, brick by brick. The early years were good. Hard, but good. We bought the house, had Emma, then Noah. I was working insane hours, trying to make junior partner at the firm, and Megan was juggling her marketing job with 2 kids under 3. We were exhausted all the time. But we were a team. We had this unspoken understanding that we were both sacrificing now so we could have something better later. But somewhere along the way, later stopped coming. I made junior partner when Noah was 2. I thought things would get easier, that we would finally have time to breathe, to reconnect. But instead, life just got more complicated. More responsibilities at work, more expenses at home, more of everything except time for each other. I started noticing the way Megan looked at me, or rather, the way she stopped looking at me. When I would come home and talk about a project I was excited about, she would nod while loading the dishwasher, clearly not listening. When I tried to kiss her, really kiss her, not just a peck on the cheek, she would pull away and say she needed to check on the kids, or finish the laundry, or respond to an email. I told myself it was just a phase. That all marriages go through this. That once the kids were a little older, things would get back to normal. But they did not. I remember our 10th anniversary. We ordered Chinese food and ate it on the living room floor because we could not afford a babysitter and a fancy dinner. I raised my glass and said something about marrying her all over again, and I meant it. But even as I said it, I felt this hollow ache in my chest, because I knew she was there with me physically, but her mind was somewhere else, making a mental grocery list, or thinking about Emma's parent-teacher conference, or worrying about whether Noah's cough was getting worse. I started staying late at the office, not because I had to, but because at least at work, people asked for my opinion and listened to the answer. At least at work, I felt like I mattered as more than just a paycheck. And then we hired Chloe. She was perfect with the kids. Patient, creative, responsible. But what I noticed first was the way she talked to me, not at me, like Megan had started doing. To me, she would ask how my day was, and when I answered, she would follow up with actual questions. What is the Taylor project about? How did the presentation go? That must be so stressful, little things, tiny things. But after years of feeling invisible in my own home, those tiny things felt enormous. I did not wake up one morning wanting someone else. I only realized how empty I was when a different person started to pay attention. It started innocently enough. Chloe would still be there when I got home from work, and we would chat for a few minutes while she packed up her things. She would tell me about her classes, her professors, her dreams of opening her own preschool someday. I would tell her about my day. Normal stuff, friendly stuff. Then one night in early spring, I got home around 8, and Megan was not home yet. She was working late on some campaign pitch. The kids were already asleep, and Chloe was sitting on the couch, studying. "You can head out," I told her. "I am home now. Actually, do you mind if I stay for another hour? I have an exam tomorrow, and it is so loud at my apartment. My roommate has people over." "Sure, no problem. Want some coffee?" "That would be amazing." Primera amada coffee, and we ended up sitting at the kitchen table talking. She asked me about the project I was working on, and I pulled out my laptop to show her the designs. She leaned in close, really looking at them, asking smart questions. "Why did you choose that angle? What made you go with glass instead of stone?" I felt seen. For the first time in years, I felt like someone was genuinely interested in the thing I had devoted my entire career to. It became a pattern. Megan would work late. I would come home, and Chloe would stay to study. We would talk. Just talk. But the talking started to feel like more than talking. There was an energy between us, a charge I had not felt in so long I had almost forgotten what it was like. One night in June, I was showing her photos from a site visit, and our hands touched as we both reached for the laptop. It was nothing. A split second of skin on skin, but neither of us moved our hands right away. "Sorry," she said, pulling back. "No, you're fine," I said. But we both knew something had shifted. The texts started after that. At first, they were practical. running 10 minutes late. Kids had mac and cheese for dinner. But then they became more frequent. More personal. She would text me funny observations from her day. I would text her back. We developed inside jokes. She started signing her texts with "Thanks, Alex," and then "Just thanks, A," and then eventually just an emoji. I knew I should stop. One knew I was crossing a line. But I did not want to stop. For the first time in years, I felt alive. In August, I had a conference in Philadelphia. 3 days of presentations and networking events. I texted Megan every night. Called to say goodnight to the kids. Did everything a good husband should do. On the second night, I was at a hotel bar having a drink alone when I got a text from Chloe. "You will never believe this. I am in Philly visiting my cousin." Small world. I should have texted back something brief and polite. Instead, I wrote, "No way. What are you doing right now?" "Just finished dinner with family. Kinda bored, honestly. Want to grab a drink?" She met me at the hotel bar 20 minutes later. She was wearing jeans and a green sweater, and her hair was down instead of in the ponytail she usually wore. She looked different. Older, beautiful. We talked for hours about her family, her childhood, her fears about the future, about my marriage, which I know I should not have talked about, but the bourbon made me honest. "Do you still love her?" Chloe asked at one point. Duh, but I do not know if she still loves me, or if she just loves the idea of the family we built. That must be so lonely. It is. She put her hand on mine. "You are a good person, Alex. You deserve to be happy." We went upstairs. I told myself we were just going to keep talking. I told myself I was not going to do anything I could not take back. But when we got to my room, and she looked at me with those wide eyes, and she leaned in, I did not stop her. "We? Keith." And then we did more than kiss. And the whole time, some part of my brain was screaming that this was wrong, that I was destroying everything, that I would regret this for the rest of my life. But I did not stop. Afterward, we lay there in the dark, not talking. She fell asleep with her head on my chest, and I stared at the ceiling feeling like I had just stepped off a cliff. She left early the next morning. Before she went, she wrote me a note on hotel stationery and left it on the nightstand. I read it after she was gone. "Last night was perfect. I know this is complicated, but when I am with you, nothing else matters. Thank you for making me feel seen. See, I should have thrown it away. I should have burned it, but I folded it up and put it in my suitcase. I do not know why. Maybe because I wanted proof that it had really happened. Maybe because some sick part of me wanted to keep a piece of that night. I told myself it would never happen again. But the truth is, once you open that door, you cannot pretend the house is still the same. When Megan showed me that note, my first instinct was to lie, to say it was not what it looked like, that Chloe had misunderstood something, that it was all innocent. But I could see in her eyes that she already knew. She had probably known for months. She had just been waiting for proof. So I told her a version of the truth, not the whole truth, because I am not brave enough for that, but enough of it to stop the questions. I admitted Chloe had been in Philadelphia. I admitted we had coffee. I did not admit what happened in my hotel room, because I could not bring myself to say those words out loud. Not yet. Maybe not ever. The babe text that started all of this. That was real. Chloe did text me that. And yes, my explanation about autocorrect was bullshit. She calls me babe sometimes in texts. It started as a joke after I accidentally called her that when I meant to text Megan. Or maybe it was not an accident. Maybe some part of me wanted to call her that. I do not even know anymore. The late nights at work, some of them were real work. But some of them were excuses to avoid going home, to avoid the silence between Megan and me, to avoid feeling like a ghost in my own life. And yes, some of those nights I would text Chloe. Not to meet up, just to talk. But I know how that sounds. I know what Megan thinks it means. The restaurant receipt for that Megan found? That was a client dinner. That part was true. But what I did not tell her was that I thought about inviting Chloe to meet me after I sat in my car for 15 minutes, with my phone in my hand, typing and deleting a text, asking if she wanted to grab a drink. I did not send it, but I wanted to. Does wanting to do something count as much as doing it? The flowers Megan asked about, those actually were for my boss's mother's funeral. But I also sent flowers to Chloe once, for her birthday, $35 from the same florist. Megan never found that receipt. Or if said, she never asked about it. Here is what I want you to understand. I am not a monster. I did not set out to hurt my wife. I did not wake up one day and decide to blow up my family for a 20-year-old babysitter. But I was drowning in a marriage that had become more about survival than love, and Chloe made me feel like I could breathe again. Was it selfish? Yes. Was it wrong? Probably. Was it cheating? That depends on how you define cheating. If you think cheating is only about physical acts, then yes, I cheated once, in Philadelphia, and I have hated myself for it every day since. But if you think cheating is also about emotional betrayal, about giving parts of yourself to someone else that should belong to your spouse, then maybe Megan was cheating on me too. Maybe she checked out of our marriage years before I did, so focused on being a mother and an employee that she forgot to be a wife. I know that sounds like I am making excuses. Maybe I am, but the truth is messier than he cheated. She is the victim. End of story. The truth is, our marriage had been dying for years, and neither of us had the courage to admit it. Chloe did not kill our marriage. She just made the death visible. The night of the confrontation, after Megan told me to get out, I lay on that couch thinking about our wedding day. How young we were. How sure we were that love would be enough. How wrong we turned out to be. I texted Chloe around midnight. We need to stop whatever this is. It is over. She texted back 3 hours later. I understand, but I do not regret any of it. I hope you do not either. The thing is, I do regret it. I regret hurting Megan. I regret betraying her trust. I regret being too weak to fix our marriage before looking outside of it for comfort. But I do not regret feeling alive again, even if it was with the wrong person at the wrong time. She calls it cheating. I call it the consequence of a marriage that was already broken. You decide.
6 months after the note was found, Megan and Alex are still living in the same house, but they are no longer living together. Alex moved into the guest room while they figure out custody arrangements and finances. Some nights he eats dinner with the family. Some nights he eats alone. Megan goes to therapy every Thursday at 6 in the evening. She parks in the back lot and keeps her sunglasses on even when she walks into the building. Her therapist says she is showing signs of post-traumatic stress, that betrayal trauma is real and valid, that it is okay to still be angry. Megan is learning to trust her gut again, to believe that her instincts were not crazy, that the signs she saw were real. She started a new project at work. She volunteers at Emma's school. She joined a book club with women who do not ask too many questions about why her husband is not around. On good days, she feels strong. On bad days, she finds herself checking Alex's location on his phone, even though she knows it is not healthy, even though she knows she should stop. She has not spoken to Chloe since the night of the confrontation. She fired her via text. She has hired a grandmother-type woman named Barbara, who arrives at 7 in the morning and leaves by 5 in the afternoon and never, ever stays late. Alex drives past his old office building sometimes and wonders what his life would look like if he had just talked to Megan years ago. If he had said, "I feel invisible," instead of finding someone who made him feel seen. He wonders if honesty could have saved them, or if they were already too far gone. He has not seen Chloe since Philadelphia. She texted him once, a few weeks after the confrontation, asking if he was okay. He never responded. He heard from a neighbor that she transferred to a 4-year university in another state. He feels relieved and sad about that in equal measure. Alex has his own therapist now too, a man in his 60s who does not let him get away with anything. "You are still avoiding accountability," the therapist said last week. "You are still blaming your marriage for your choices." "I am not blaming anyone," Alex said. "Yes, you are. You are blaming Megan for not seeing you, but did you see her? Did you ask what she needed? Alex did not have an answer for that. The kids know something is wrong. Emma asks why Daddy sleeps in the other room. Noah asks why Mommy cries in the bathroom. They are too young to understand betrayal, but old enough to feel the fracture in their family. On Sunday mornings, Alex makes pancakes, and for a few hours, they pretend to be whole again. But the pretending is getting harder. Megan has not decided if she will divorce him. Some days she wants to burn everything down and start over. Some days she remembers the man who proposed on that beach and wonders if he is still in there somewhere, buried under the lies and the selfishness and the cowardice. Alex has not decided if he wants the marriage to survive. Some days he thinks they owe it to the kids to try. Some days he thinks staying together would be worse than leaving. Neither of them is innocent. Both of them are in pain. And the truth, whatever it actually is, lives somewhere in the space between their two versions. Where blame gets complicated and love gets tangled up with resentment and forgiveness feels impossible. In the end, the receipts were real, the distance was real, and so were the lies. After hearing her side and his side, who do you believe is closer to the truth? Was this clear cheating, a gray area, or a marriage that was already dead long before the proof showed up? Did Alex betray Megan, or did they betray each other in different ways over years of silence and neglect? Is emotional infidelity as bad as physical infidelity? Or is that just an excuse people use when the lines get blurry? Tell me in the comments, her side, his side, or no one is clean. If you like long, messy marriage stories where the truth does not fit in a single version, subscribe, leave a like, and share this with someone who loves hard questions about love and betrayal. This is Infinite Stories, where every story has two sides, and you get to decide which one you believe.